There has been a trade. Another one in the NFL.
A trade?
On top of Davante Adams being moved cross country, he did that during the game last night. Just hanging out with Aaron Rodgers now in his appearance on McAfee today. Another wide receiver is on the move. Not very far this time, though. From Cleveland to Buffalo. Amari Cooper has been traded to the Bills for a 2025 third and a 2026 seventh round pick. The Bills get Amari Cooper and a 2025 sixth. So they get a little kickback there. But the Browns know that they are bad.
So both teams that played in Monday Night Football last night said, we need a pass catcher.
That's right.
Okay.
The Browns converted, this is from Tom Pelissero, the Browns converted almost $19 million of Amari Cooper's $20 million salary back to a signing bonus back in March. Buffalo didn't have the flexibility to pay Davante Adams $11.6 million for the rest of the 2024 season like the Jets did. And now they're getting Cooper for a grand total of $806,000 for the rest of the season because the Browns gave him that guaranteed money at the beginning of the year. Also, the Davante Adams trade is now official, according to the Jets. All right.
We have another.
Is there another trade?
Yes.
All right.
But it's a game. It's a game has been traded. We've had a flex.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
In the NFL. Bengals Eagles week 8 on October 27th has been removed from the 3:30
goodbye
window and replaced. Who will Jim Nantz and Tony Romo be talking about?
Bears.
Commanders.
Bears Commanders.
Yes.
Caleb Williams versus
Jaden
Daniels. Yes. We love narratives. We love narratives. All right. This is from Bill Connolly.
Hi, Bill.
Ranking college football. Actually, this is not from Bill Connolly. This is from Eli Lederman and Max Olson.
Hi, Eli and Max.
Friend of the show, Max Olson. Ranking college football's top 50 newcomers at midseason. Top 50 newcomers at midseason. Number 1 is Cam Ward. Number 2 is Jeremiah Smith. Number 3 is Ryan Williams. And then we go farther and further down the list. And I'm wondering where Dylan Raiola is going to pop up. He did pop up, but not until we got to number... where did he end up? I had this earlier. Not until we got to number 34. 34. Now this is including transfers and freshmen. But I thought it was interesting on the list. First of all, a couple things. Number 1, Curtis Rourke is number 5. Curtis Rourke.
Curtis with a K.
Curtis with a K, the quarterback that Nebraska is going to see this week against Indiana. But I thought this was maybe even more interesting. By the way, your boy Diego Pavia is on here.
Hell yeah.
How about Kyle McCord coming in at number 11?
Kyle McCord, 11?
Kyle McCord.
Really?
The former Ohio State quarterback. Here's the blurb on him. If McCord fell short of expectations in his lone season starting in Ohio State, he's exceeding them in his debut campaign with Syracuse. McCord became the first Orange quarterback to throw for 300 yards in 6 consecutive games when he had 346 passing yards, the pair of touchdowns against whoever they played on Saturday. Through 6 games, McCord has thrown for more first downs than any other FBS passer nationally, and his 360 yards per game ranks him only second to Cam Ward. Kyle McCord's Orange are 5-1, and he's on pace to set a series of career highs this fall. Obviously, he's gotten out of the pressure cooker that was the Ohio State offense and the offense that didn't really let him do anything. He has now flourished at Syracuse. So you know the question, Josh. Should we have taken McCord?
Go ahead and ask it. Connor,
what if they had taken McCord? What if?
After giving this much thought, I've been deep in thought on this. Hell no. That guy sucks.
You don't think McCord is good?
Compared to a shiny legacy 5-star.
I love that part. I love the legacy part. That's
Mhm.
for sure. Kyle McCord this year has completed 66% of his passes.
Average.
He's thrown 19 touchdowns already. You know how many Dylon's thrown?
Okay, that sounds like a lot.
8. I believe that's right. 8?
That number should be higher, right? We should maybe be
No,
talking-
it might be 9. It might be 9 by now.
That still low.
He has thrown 6 interceptions. Kyle has. He's thrown for 2,100
really?
yards. Like they're cutting it loose with this guy.
Not careful with the football.
No, but they are cutting it loose. And so maybe there's a lesson here for Nebraska in the second half of the season. Maybe Dylon cuts it loose a little bit.
Loose.
I am not, just to be very clear, I'm not making the case that Nebraska should have told Dylan Raiola at the end of his recruiting process. You know, he called Matt Rule that morning. He said, "Coach, I really want to come to Nebraska." And then Matt Rule's response should have been, "No, click. We have Kyle." I am not saying that.
The hell out of here.
I am not saying that for the record. But so much about quarterback play is about how much control you give them, how much trust you have in them, and how much, opportunity to work are you going to give them to a certain extent, right? You don't want all the pressure to fall on their shoulders.
Big pumpkin watch this weekend.
Kyle McCord
in Pittsburgh as Syracuse plays Pittsburgh. The loser of that game is a pumpkin.
Well, you don't get a double pumpkin watch.
Two pumpkins are about to meet each other. Pittsburgh is undefeated.
You might have just got lucky with that. I know Pittsburgh is undefeated. Pittsburgh people are talking about Pittsburgh in the college football playoff. This is our life now. If you're 6-0 in the middle of October now, you get to be talked about as it pertains to the college football playoff. It's an amazing thing to do.
Also, wow. Pitt, Virginia Tech, Boston College, Cal up next for Syracuse.
Tricky.
Feels tougher than Holy Cross and UNLV without their quarterback.
So maybe we're not talking about young Kyle this way in a few weeks.
Feels like he might not be able to get loose.
You're saying Kyle McCord is a pumpkin.
Yeah.
So they didn't let him do anything at Ohio State, and then they ran him off, right? Last year, they only let him attempt 348 passes. He's already attempted 282.
Okay.
So far this year. So he'll pass that in about 2 games.
Do you have the rushing stats in front of you for Syracuse as a team? Like
as a team?
Yeah.
No.
It's got to be paltry, right?
I could certainly get there. Syracuse rushing, their top rusher is named LeQuint Allen, and he has 450 yards on the ground so far. So it's not nothing, Josh.
He's 10th in the ACC.
LeQuint?
Yeah.
My guy, LeQuint?
LeQuint is 10th.
Top
10 running back in the ACC.
They have another guy who's got 100 on top of that.
He's 8th in touchdowns in the ACC.
How about former Nebraska Cornhusker Will Nixon?
Whoa.
Who's involved in their offense a little bit. That guy must have played at 100 schools by now. But
that's the goal.
Yeah. So a lot of this is about the control and how tight the reins are on quarterback play, right? And so I think everybody was really quick to write off Kyle McCord after his year at Ohio State. This guy can't do anything. And to be fair, like Ohio State always, is really infatuated with the guys who really can exceed your ceiling, right? They can really I shouldn't say exceed, I should say raise your ceiling. The super uber talented guys, the CJ Strouds of the world, the Dwayne Haskins of the world, like those guys, they couldn't deny them because of what they give you from a ceiling standpoint, which makes it all the more confusing to me why they're starting Will Howard this year. But that's different. I don't think he raises their ceiling very much, right?
He does not.
I mean, could Kyle McCord do what Will Howard's doing this year? I kind of think so.
I think so.
And that's been proven out in his time at Syracuse now. So back to it being a Nebraska topic. We'll just see what happens with Dylan Raiola in the second half of the season. But I have a sense that Nebraska is they're obviously going to be in some tighter games. There's going to be some close ones late. And I think in those cases, you're going to ask your quarterback to kind of make some plays. And maybe you feel like your opportunity against some of these tougher physical Big Ten teams is to get a little loose on them, throw it through the air a little bit. You're going to need some more from your wide receivers. You're obviously going to need more from your running backs. But it wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Raiola rips off a nice stretch where he's got, we're talking 250, 275, 300-yard passing games.
So just
maybe he throws a couple more picks. I'll trade that at the point that they're at right now.
Get a little more aggressive.
If we're talking like 4 touchdowns, 2 picks or something like that, like I can live with that. I just think Nebraska's been a little bit conservative so far this year, and it's maybe by design. Maybe it's by design.
As a fan, I'm sitting here like, God, Matt Rule said they weren't going to limit him. They were just going to let him be him. And boy, reading those stat lines next to each other, boy, it sure seems like they're keeping a lid on him.
It's light.
Yeah,
it's light. Now what they're allowing him to do and what they're putting on his plate, I guess, are 2 different things, probably. Right? They're making him do all the things, but they've also said, hey, times get tough. We're just going to not turn the ball over. Like, that's our thing. We're not turning the ball over.
And obviously that's better in the long run. But as a fan, it's hard to sit here and go, man, if you think he's that good, I think he's that good.
I'm ready for the cork to come off.
Yeah.
Let's pop it. Let's see what's going on.
Maybe it's against Indiana where one of the permeations of that game is a shootout.
Yep.
That is one of the ways that game could go.
Maybe you start to see it a little bit.